A comic talent wasn't the only thing Lucille Ball was good at. She was an unstoppable force that altered the course of Hollywood history. She could make even the silliest of gaffes hilarious because to her flaming red hair, brilliant blue eyes, and distinctive silly smile. Lucille had a natural talent for making people laugh, whether it was through comedic pranks or tripping over her lines. Lucille, though, was more than just the comedic actress. She was a trailblazer for women in show business and changed the game for them. However, she didn't become a household name immediately. Becoming the beloved Lucille Ball that we know and love today required years of perseverance, hard work, and an abundance of bravery. The glamorous childhood that Lucille Ball is known for today wasn't always the case. Lucy Ball was born to Henry and Desiree on August 6, 1911, in Jamestown, New York. She had a troubled life, marked by heartache from the beginning. Because her father was a telephone industry worker, she was the eldest of 2 children and witnessed her family's frequent migration from Montana to New Jersey and eventually Michigan. But in 1915, at the tender age of 3, Lucy's world would undergo a radical transformation. Henry, her father, died suddenly at 27 years old after contracting typhoid disease. This was more than simply a tragic loss for little Lucy. Her carefree upbringing came to an abrupt end at that point. The memories of a chaotic and distressing period, a house bereft of joy, her mother's tears, and an overpowering feeling of not knowing what to do would remain with her forever. And just like that, the carefree joys of life ceased to exist. Into something considerably more challenging. Desiree was forced to find out how to keep the family running after losing her husband and being pregnant with Lucy's brother Fred. She got a job in a factory after returning to Jamestown. However, Lucy had still another challenge after her remarriage. Ed Peterson, Desiree's new stepfather, was not interested in parenting children, so he and Desiree uprooted their lives and moved to Detroit, leaving Lucy and Fred behind. When Fred moved in with his grandparents, Lucy was assigned to live with Ed's stern mother, a situation that was equally as difficult for Lucy as her entire childhood. Not even pencils could be purchased with the available funds. As challenging as Lucy's new existence was, it was far from impossible. She had to keep her spirit strong through it all. I felt like I couldn't even get my hands on basic school supplies. But Lucy started to build the resilience that would define her destiny through all the turbulence and hard breakdowns. She refused to be defined by the difficulties she faced in life. She would become an indomitable woman, and her early challenges were the building blocks of her womanhood. Desiree and Ed returned to Jamestown when Lucy was 11 years old, allowing her to be reunited with her mother. Lucy had already begun to yearn for more by that point. The thrill of being the center of attention washed over Lucy the second she stepped onto the stage at a Shriners play, an audition she had been persuaded to do at the age of 12 by her stepfather. It wasn't merely enjoyable, it was an opportunity to feel validated and to receive recognition for the first time. Johnny DeVita was a 21-year-old local troublemaker who Lucy Ball became enamored with in a brief affair when she was only 14 years old. The connection did not sit well with Desiree, her mother. She attempted to wait it out, expecting the young love would die down on its own, because she was worried about her daughter's future. Desiree, however, took matters into her own hands after that failed to materialize, utilizing Lucy's aspiration to be a star in the entertainment industry as a means of emancipation. New York City's John Murray Anderson School for the Dramatic Arts was enrolled by Lucy in 1926 by Desiree despite the fact that money was scarce. For a family without much financial resources, it was a huge leap. Lucy happened to be Bette Davis's classmate, which only served to heighten the tension. However, not everything worked out according to plan. Some critical comments were directed at Lucy as she was about to embark on her acting career. She was told by her teachers that she lacked the necessary skills to succeed in the entertainment business. While most people would take criticism like that very hard, Lucy was unfazed. A handful of doubters wouldn't sway her. In 1928, Lucy went back to New York City intent on proving them wrong and becoming famous. She also found employment that year as an in-house model for Hattie Carnegie, a legendary figure in the world of fashion. There was one catch to this enormous opportunity. Lucy lightened her brown hair with bleach. She consented, eager to play the part. However, appearing glamorous wasn't the only concern. Whether she was slouching in a sequin gown or casually draping a mink coat, Hattie Carnegie showed Lucy how to carry oneself with elegance. Rheumatic sickness was a huge setback for Lucy right when her modeling career was taking started. She had to put her acting aspirations on wait for 2 years due to the sickness. Despite everything that was going on, Lucy remained focused on her goals. Despite this setback, her resolve to achieve stardom in the entertainment industry was unwavering. In 1932, she was hell-bent on giving acting another go. Once again, she dabbled in modeling, this time for Hattie Carnegie as the Chesterfield cigarette girl. The gig brought attention to her name, but it wasn't the breakthrough she had hoped for. Things didn't work out for Lucy when she began receiving chorus roles on Broadway under the name Diane Belmont. Florence Ziegfeld Jr. and Earl Carroll, two major producers, hired her, but they sacked her just as fast. It seems like every chance she had was quickly taken away. Lucy, though, had no intention of giving up. In 1933, she made a cameo in the film Roman Scandals before deciding to make Hollywood her permanent home. As a contract player for RKO Pictures, I had consistent work throughout the 1930s, although my parts were minor and unglamorous. She made surprise appearances in a number of films and TV shows, including one with the Three Stooges and another in which the Marx Brothers were room service. Her progress was steady as she carved out a route. In 1936, Lucy eventually landed her first acknowledged role in Chatterbox, and she began to get little parts in more famous films after that. Her musical theater credits include Top Hat and Follow the Fleet, both starring Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Provided minor but crucial supporting roles that were easy to overlook. Stage Door, which she starred in 1937, was the film that first brought her stardom. Lucy proved she belonged among Hollywood's finest in an ensemble cast that included Ginger Rogers and Katharine Hepburn, playing an aspiring actress. The results weren't immediate, but Lucy's perseverance was beginning to pay off. She was able to become the famous figure we know today with each minor role she had in a film. She refused to be defined by the early failures. Persevering, she had faith that greater things were on the horizon. She had a point. Playing the lead role in the 1936 Broadway comedy Hey Diddle Diddle, which was set in an apartment in Hollywood, Lucy thought she had finally found her big break. That role belonged to her, Julie Tucker. As one of three housemates dealing with the bizarre world of controlling celebs and neurotic filmmakers. Though it opened to mixed reviews in Princeton, New Jersey in January 1937, the play's run was short-lived. Tensions over whether to replace or rework the character of the show's star, Conway Torrell, who was ill, caused the play to close after only 1 week in Washington, D.C. as Torrell's health deteriorated. Lucy persisted even though the play was a bust. While her 1940 musical Too Many Girls may not have catapulted her to stardom, it did alter her life in another manner. Desi Arnaz was someone she met here. Their connection was immediate and electric, and they quickly fell head over heels for each other. Lucy signed with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer at about this time, aiming to become a Hollywood star. Queen of the Bees was her moniker, but she never landed a prominent role in a Hollywood blockbuster. Instead, she starred in B films. Despite the unappealing nature of the title, Lucy successfully used it in films such as 1939's Five Came Back. She was gaining a reputation despite the difficulties she faced. Lucy also got into radio work to earn some extra cash and gain some more fame. She started appearing regularly on Phil Baker's show in 1937 and went on to join Jack Haley on The Wonder Show. This assignment was significant because it began her 50-year professional relationship with announcer Gail Gordon, even though it only lasted a season. To demonstrate her acting prowess, Lucy won a significant role alongside Henry Fonda in 1942's The Big Street. The hit Broadway musical was also purchased by MGM. However, when she declined the role, Lucy was given the opportunity to prove that she could also handle musicals. She went on to star in a number of films in the years that followed, including noirs like The Dark Corner and The Mystery Lord. However, in 1948, Lucy became famous for her comedic work after landing the role of Liz Cooper, a charming and eccentric wife, on the CBS radio program My Favorite Husband. She was born to play this part, and it launched the television career that would bring her fame. There were many low points in Lucy's early career, but she never let her resolve dampen her focus, and now her efforts were finally paying off. After My Favorite Husband became a radio hit, CBS wanted to adapt it for television, and Lucy was on board. One thing was her state, though. Cuban bandleader Desi Arnaz, who was her real-life spouse, had no choice but to portray her fictional husband as well. The notion didn't sit well with the network since they were concerned that viewers wouldn't see a Cuban man and an American redhead as a romantic coupling. Lucy and Desi decided to take matters into their own hands when CBS didn't like their pilot, so they went on a vaudeville tour. It was a smashing success because Lucy played a crazy housewife who was attempting to get into Desi's program. After seeing how well it did, CBS decided to give I Love Lucy a go. I Love Lucy became an immediate classic upon its October 15, 1951, airing and continued until May 6, 1957. Not only was Lucy's show popular, but it was also her way of trying to salvage her troubled marriage to Desi. Their hectic schedules kept them apart, but Desi's roving gaze was the main reason they were having trouble connecting. In spite of their problems off-screen, they captivated audiences. Another obstacle that Lucy and Desi had to overcome was the show's filming. They had hoped to remain in LA, but the networks insisted on airing live from New York. Since most East Coast viewers would be viewing a lower quality, day-old kinescope recording, a live performance from Los Angeles would not be ideal. Philip Morris, their sponsor, wanted them to return to the East Coast, but Lucy and Desi weren't having any of that. If they could keep the rights to the episodes after they aired, they were willing to take a pay cut to film the show on high-quality 35mm film. CBS consented without understanding the cost. It was this choice that ultimately changed the course of events. Lucy and Desi were able to make a big move when CBS purchased back the rights in 1957 for $1 million, which is approximately $10.8 million today. Transforming RKO Studios into Desilu Studios by acquisition. Lucy and Desi's insistence on doing things their way laid the groundwork for the studio that would later host several television hits. During its entire existence, I Love Lucy had the most viewers of any television show. Using an episode in which the Ricardos and the Mertzes have a heated disagreement, they even attempted to adapt it for radio. The Ricardos were about to make a move, but then they remembered they were bound to their lease. Despite never airing, the recording of the radio version is available. Lucy Does the Tango included one of the most memorable and hilarious scenes during the series run. The editors had to chop the audience's laughing in half since it was so long and so loud during a scene where Lucy and Ricky practiced the tango. Lucy and Desi managed to squeeze in a few movie appearances together while they were still working on the show. They starred in 1954's The Long Trailer and 1950's XS Forever Darling. They kept appearing in hour-long specials under the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour even after I Love Lucy was officially cancelled in 1957. This ran all the way until 1960. But Lucy was more than that, she was an innovator in her field. She co-founded Desilu with Desi and became the first woman to head a production firm. After the couple's divorce, Lucy acquired Desi's ownership stake and assumed control. Famous for his work on Star Trek and Mission Impossible, Desilu also helped establish the practice of using numerous cameras in front of an actual audience, which is still used today. A 32-week comedy school was even conducted by Lucy, who famously declared, "You can't teach someone comedy, either they have it or they don't." In 1967, Lucy sold her shares in Desilu for $17 million, which would be roughly $155 million today. Later, the company was renamed Paramount Television. Lucy had a huge effect on Hollywood behind the scenes in addition to being a legendary TV performer. Lucille Ball's breakout performance on Broadway was in the 1960s in the musical Wildcat. However, due to her inability to recover from a virus, the show had to conclude prematurely. She was unable to return to the stage, despite the early excitement and ticket sales. Nevertheless, the musical was memorable for the song Hey, Look Me Over, which she even sang on the Ed Sullivan program. She also hosted a radio talk program called Let's Talk to Lucy at around the same time, where she had conversations with different guests and gave her audience a glimpse into her personal life. The musical Mame, 1974, and Yours, Mine, and Ours, 1968, were Lucy's only film appearances, but her true breakout came on television. Her roles in Here's Lucy and The Lucy Show, two hit sitcoms, kept her in the spotlight. Lucy Arnaz and Desi Arnaz Jr., her actual children, were included in Here's Lucy, which made it a genuine family affair. Lucy's enchantment remained unchanged. She reminisced about her time on I Love Lucy and other fond recollections in an interview she gave to the Dick Cavett Show in 1974. She also revealed a strange anecdote about picking up a clandestine Japanese radio broadcast on her tooth fillings. Even in Hollywood, Lucy maintained close acquaintances. She had strong relationships with other legendary performers, like Vivian Vance, Judy Garland, and Jack Benny from I Love Lucy. My association with Carol Burnett was really meaningful. Although it was widely believed that Lucy extended an offer of a sitcom to Carol, the reality is that Carol opted to start her own variety show rather than accept the offer. Lucy served as a mentor to Carol. Lucy and Carol were very close until Lucy passed away. In a kind gesture, Lucy would send Carol flowers on her birthday every year. Lucy made an attempt at a return to television in the 1980s. She co-founded a production firm with her husband, Gary Morton, and hosted a Three's Firm special in which she reflected on the show's finest moments. In the 1985 television film Stonepillow, Lucy portrayed a homeless woman in her twilight years. People continued to tune in to watch despite the conflicting reviews. Unfortunately, her subsequent sitcom, Life with Lucy, was axed after a mere 2 months due to its lack of popularity. After Lucille Ball felt chest trouble on April 18, 1989, she was quickly sent to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. She underwent a 7-hour surgery to repair her aorta and install a new aortic valve after doctors discovered a potentially fatal dissecting aortic aneurysm. Even though Lucy's operation went well at first, she woke up on April 26 in excruciating pain and quickly lost consciousness, 8 days after the procedure. At 5:47 in the morning, she died. At 77 years of age. It turned out that her previous surgery had nothing to do with the rupture of an abdominal aortic aneurysm. The fact that Lucy passed away only 2 years and 4 months after Desilu did further deepen the grief felt by her devoted fanbase and family. She was the recipient of 3 memorial services. Lucy was cremated after she passed away. Her mother and her original resting place were at Forest Lawn in Hollywood Hills Cemetery. But her desire to be buried close to her family led to the 2002 transfer of her ashes to the Hunt family plot at Lakeview Cemetery in Jamestown, New York, where she was born and raised. Also laid to rest there in 2007 was her brother Fred. Reunites loved ones in peacefulness.